Live from Chicago, Chuck Harold, SecurityGuideTV.com. My next guest, what's your name?
Perry Aftab.
And what's your organization?
I run cybersafety.org.
Fantastic. And what do you guys do?
We help protect kids on the internet and help find ways that cybersecurity. Oh, sorry, you're going to have to start again. I got to swallow this mint.
Oh, all right.
I thought I could hide it.
Chuck Harold, SecurityGuideTV.com. What's your name?
Perry Aftab.
And name of your organization?
Cybersafety.org.
And what do you guys do?
We help protect kids on the internet, and most importantly, we set standards on cyber safety, which includes ways law enforcement can engage with social media, certifying and training law enforcement and other security professionals around the world on the human factor.
I'm so happy to hear this. I mean, back in the day at the studios, I was prosecuting people under California Penal Code 302. Right, which is about how to use a computer, and then there's some pornography issues in there. And California had some sections that we could do something with. And then when it had cases in other states, you know what? Not so much necessarily, right?
Not so much. And the first cyber stalking law, of course, came out in California.
That's right. We had a lot of those from the studio. We kind of helped work those laws and things. So what is the landscape looking across the country? Are we getting better, putting some teeth into these things to do something about it?
Well, I do it all over the world, 76 countries around the world. So we're getting some teeth, and we're getting smarter. The problem is there's one law in place, the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, that gives social media and providers absolute immunity for whatever they do or don't do other than child porn.
I wish I did know that.
Yes, moment of death videos, sextortion, taking your head and putting it on somebody else's body, hate, whatever they want to do, they can keep it up, take it down, and nobody can sue them.
Now, how does that reconcile? Because they also tell you that they own your content. How do they get away with that?
Well, they don't really own your content, and a lot of that is old wives' tales and badly written policies.
Okay.
But we need to recognize that everything's happening online, good and bad, and law enforcement and security professionals need to know how to use it to investigate crimes and keep people safer. At the same time, we need to find the bad guys and stop it from happening. And the industry is standing in the way.
So this was, not such an important attack vector back in the day when the internet was new. Would you say it's the number one vector now where children are contacted and kidnapped and exploited? Is that the main place it happens now?
Well, sex trafficking is often not they're contacted online. It's they're being trafficked online, and often they're homeless kids or immigrant children or street children someplace in the world. Our kids, the typical white middle-class suburban kids, are getting into trouble because they're taking off their clothes for voluntary images called sexting. And those images now get into the hands of the bad guys who now try to traffic them. I'm going to tell everyone you took these pictures. I'm going to show it to your father unless you take more pictures, get your friends involved, or meet me at this hotel. So all of them are now being involved, and it's a way to recruit and a way to exploit kids, and we're seeing a lot more of it than we ever thought we'd find.
Well, and I've read some data that says a lot of this stuff is happening right under the nose of the family, and the daughter or son involved in it, you have no idea as the parent that is going on, because they say we're going to kill everybody if you say anything.
Yeah, and they have no idea because the kids carry around more power in their backpacks, pockets, and purses than most computers had a few years ago. Interpol has 5 million images of youth in sexual activities or engaged in graphic nudity, and they don't know if their kids being trafficked or kids who were doing it voluntarily because they had too much to drink at a party.
And you can't identify a lot of them.
Yeah, so 5 million. I mean, tell me what risks our kids are at.
How is the app business? Are they successful in some of these attempts? I've seen one where I can go around as a volunteer and take pictures of hotel rooms and upload in a database, and then organizations like yourself can say, look, that's the so-and-so hotel down the street. Are those working?
Well, and they first started actually with law enforcement in Canada, who wrote a letter to Bill Gates saying, please, we need help. And Bill came out with what was called CATS at the time. We gave them an award at the U.S. Senate. And it allows them to share information about child sexual exploitation and trafficking without putting the image of the child itself out there again. Every time it's re-victimizing them.
Yeah.
So it's helping. The thing I think that's helping the most is Microsoft's photo DNA. So every image of child pornography, every image of child sexual exploitation that's known gets uploaded to a database, and every image that goes up onto Facebook or Instagram or Google is run through this database to see if they'll spot it and spot the people who are trafficking in these images.
So here's what I don't get. I read some statistic that said, the FBI gets $50 million a year for this. And I go, $50 million? That does not seem like a lot of money for this. Why is it that this isn't our number one national, worldwide thing we champion? Is it just too horrible for people to think about? Because it certainly affects every aspect of human life, past, present, and future, right?
Right.
If we are raising children in this environment, they become up to be non-functioning adults. It affects everybody. It's so horrific. Slavery, sexual slavery, indentured servitude. I don't get why people aren't screaming from rooftops to fix this.
Well, you put your finger on it, and so you must have a lot of experience in this space.
I have, unfortunately.
And we had a one-page ad called "Behind Every Picture There's Pain" that was picked up in Australia by all of the law enforcement agencies in Australia as their national campaign. People magazine was going to give us a free PSA, and they said it was just a little girl and her hair was ruffled, black and white. And they said, it's too hard. If people see an image like this, they're going to put down the magazine. So it's hard to think about, and those of us who've devoted our lives to it have no choice. I mean, I gave up my law practice so I can run a charity for free. And you do it because that's your passion, and you know that every child you save is a child you've saved.
Well, another thing is I tell people about this, and I said, of our block of 12 people here, probably somebody's involved in it. 1 out of 12, right? And they don't believe me.
No.
It's that can't be. It's not possible. So I think denial is part of it too.
It is.
But I hear what you're saying. It is, we know what we're looking at, and it's pretty beyond comprehension, right?
Absolutely
But
horrible.
People Magazine's got to say, you know what? We're going to take a chance because it's the right thing to do.
And that's what we really need to do that. And one of the reasons I came out here, I usually do just the cyber stuff, but
Right.
I agreed to speak because the security people on the ground and in cyberspace are crucial if we're going to tackle
Yeah,
this.
that's right.
And so as we're looking at standards and what we need to do to make sure that the cybersecurity professionals can find out who's behind this and law enforcement can get the information they need for investigations, we need to bring everybody into one giant room and make it happen. So that's why I'm here.
Re ipsa loquitur, as they say, right? It's the best. That's a good application for that.
That's it. It put me to sleep in law school. It's going to do that here.
Give us your name one more time.
Parry Aftab,
And the organization.
cybersafety.org.
Fantastic. And you're speaking. Do you know when your session
yes,
is? Today or tomorrow?
I did. I already spoke, and
Oh,
it
okay.
was on crimes in children from opioids and weapons and serious issues that we're seeing. And it was interesting because the panel didn't focus on technology. It focused on values and empathy and
Interesting.
loneliness.
Yeah.
And all of us looked at each other and said, well, maybe there's an answer here that we hadn't considered
Oh yeah,
before.
I think it's about people getting removed from their social group. Isolation creates these reactions, and I think this is
does.
a big part of it. And I tell everybody on TV and on my show or on social media, just be nice. Be nice to people, right? That's a good start because if you go after people like that, you increase violence. And
That's
it's a
it.
low level, but that's where it starts, right?
And cyberbullying and cyber
Exactly.
stalking.
That's
I'm
it.
married to a Canadian, so he always reminds me about the importance of kindness.
Canadians are very kind.
I
it's
know
true.
they are,
Yeah,
but
like-
I'm from New Jersey. We're just tough.
That's interesting, Vix.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on the show. We'll be back
Appreciate
in
it.
here at GSX 2019, live from Chicago.